and to you our understanding of how it relates to the Harris proposal. This is our team, as you can see.
Hi, so my name is James. I'm 18 and I've just finished my A-levels at King's Ely. I'll be taking a gap year and then hopefully studying urban planning at Oxford Brookes.
Excellent, very exciting.
I'm Kit, I'm a Year 10 student, I study at Northstowe. I'm here completing my week work experience because I'd like to express my interests in architecture, and I'd like to also broaden my knowledge.
Fabulous.
Hi, I'm Sophia, I'm 16. I've recently finished my GCSEs at Impington Village College, and I'm here this week because I'm interested in geography and urban planning, and it's been resulting really interesting to learn more about careers like that.
Brilliant.
Yeah, my name's Kaylee. I'm also 15, and I've also just finished my GCSEs at St Mary's, Cambridge. And I'm here to complete a week of work experience because I have interest in geography, urban planning, and town planning.
Fantastic.
Hi, my name is Makar, I'm 15 and I study at Galwich Community College. I'm hoping to take my A-levels in the future, and I'm interested in towns and how towns and spaces can be made better for people living in them. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
So we've decided that sustainability is a core to our redesigning of Cambourne High Street, including economic sustainability to ensure long-term economic prosperity, social sustainability to ensure well-being of people living in Cambourne, and environmental sustainability to focus on reducing emissions. And the use of the NPPF was really important to do this as a national level planning framework.
Yeah, and same goes for the South Cambridgeshire Local Plan, which I think the cover was designed by Bonnie in 2018. And we focus mainly on the policy HQ1, which is the local level, which kind of links quite well to the 4 Cs, and it kind of ensures that the town that we're building has is all inclusive and is all accessible to everyone.
So here are the 4 Cs. We're just going to briefly give you a explanation, and we'll dive deep into them later.
Yeah, so for the first C, I'm focusing on character, and so it's a deep dive into the existing characteristics of Cambourne High Street and how our team wants to improve it and make additions to it.
I've been focusing on connectivity, so how existing sort of infrastructure about transport and lifestyle connections can be incorporated into new ones within this site that they have proposed.
Makar and I have been addressing the challenge of climate change in the climate, which is the next policy, to ensure the development of Cambourne High Street is environmentally sustainable.
Yep, so the final of the 4 Cs is community, which is discussing the social impact the new infrastructure has on the people of Cambourne High Street.
Cambourne is a relatively new town that is built only 25 years ago and has a population of 13,000 people.
So this is the Harrison Partnership's initial proposition as to what they'd sort of like to see on their site. As you can see, there's lots of terraced housing on the sort of right-hand side, and then some flat blocks with shops underneath, which equates to 30 townhouses and 87 apartments.
Just let me go back there, let
Yeah,
me
sure.
reorientate myself. Where's Morrison's there?
Morrison's is by here, and this is the car park.
Good, thank you.
So we've then taken that proposal and sort of adapted it to try and fit the needs of the 4 Cs, the policies, the sort of pulling it all together to try and improve it. So as you can see, a couple of sort of factors we tried to focus on. So reducing the number of terraced houses to provide just a bit more space, larger gardens, sort of more appropriate driveways, etc. And then also the underground parking, although expensive, saves a lot of space. Roof gardens on the flats buildings. So yeah, just a few things like that.
Right, so we'd like to bring your attention to our model. We saw kind of some of the issues with the Harris proposal. We took them and we rectified them, and then we kind of brought it together in this little drawing. So to begin with, we've got this. We've decided to add a path here with a water fountain and benches around it. We figured out that there's minimal to no access to the woods in the area, and we feel like there needs that kind of community sense, because it kind of stops people from going out and socialising and meeting new people. So we feel like that's a good way to enjoy the scenery.
So then, as I said, you've got the underground parking coming in up here. This would sort of service the flats, as well as providing parking for people coming to visit some of these shops. And it sort of reduces the volume of expanse of, say, that whole area. Otherwise, it would just have to be open car parking space. But instead, we've now been able to develop that and provide both residential sort of area as well as providing economic growth in the region due to the increase in the number of shops.
So leading it from the underground parking, so on the ground floor would be shops, as it's kind of similar to what the Harris company kind of suggested. And so as young people, we kind of wanted to have an input and see what kind of shops we would also want. So we've kind of made a quick assumption that we would want like a sports shop, so something that could cater to all kind of ages, and so it's not just like one specific clothing or brand that like doesn't cater to like all kind of ages of people. So a charity shop so people can donate and also buy. A cafe with outdoor seating, and we would suggest putting public artwork or like a water feature also. And then we would have a bigger space for restaurant, a post office and boots. And we kind of wanted to call the attention to the post office as well, because we were quite adamant that it would be a really good space because people kind of have a lot of packages, and having to like deliver them or receive them from like other shops like Co-op becomes a lot more expensive. So we kind of suggested that the post office would be really good. And so on top of that would be apartments. So ground floor, and then there will be 2 floors of apartments. And bringing your attention to this bottom corner here, there would also be 2 blocks of apartments, but we would have just ground floor parking. So then that kind of makes it more accessible for like disabilities, also like families. So then they have bigger spaces within the ground parking. So then it becomes like easier. And so we would also have floors of apartments, and then on top we kind of were pretty like, we quite like the idea of a roof garden. So it kind of creates, like adds to the scene of greenery for Camborne, and also roof garden kind of creates the sense of community and like for people to interact. So for example, like adding amenities like barbecues, benches, like gardens, or like mini orchards that people can kind of participate in.
Right, so another part that we decided to introduce is bike parking here, here and here for the shops. We thought that this was really important to encourage active transport and sustainable transport, especially in the shops, because in the previous proposal there was only like a limited amount of bike parking, and we thought that it was important for there to be enough for the customers and for the people who live in the flats above. Furthermore, we made it so that this road, which goes around here and joins onto the main road, would be pedestrian and cycle only, to make sure that it's a safe space for people to be able to access the woods and go out from their houses and things like that.
I wanted to say that there's now enough space and paths for pedestrians, and that there should be made some,
So this is my section regarding character, and so I started by looking at the existing characters that the Camborne High Street has. So the few things that we noticed when we went to do our site analysis was Juliet balconies, the material like wet render, bricks, and 2 to 4 story buildings. So we would kind of want to keep it the same level for when we do our proposal. And so throughout us, we were kind of able to spot some common characteristics, and so they were either successful or unsuccessful. So for example, for render, we would say that it's kind of unsuccessful because it requires repaints every few years, and usually kind of developers don't really want to fund the repaint every few years, and so that kind of creates a rundown image that we don't really want on Camborne High Street. However, we would say that Juliet balconies could be successful and unsuccessful because in a way they create quite like a decorative feature, enhancing natural light and ventilation, but it doesn't comply with the South Cambridgeshire Design Guide, which kind of states that states that there should be balcony spaces at least 3 square meters. So none of these really meet it. So that's what we wanted to include in our flats. Yeah, so something like this. Yeah.
Excellent.
And then, so next, we kind of noticed the variety of building materials and colour, which we both said would be successful because it kind of adds to diversity, the livelihood of Camborne High Street that we really want, and the welcoming and friendly environment. And so we kind of could include that into our flats and our buildings as well. So kind of make them maybe one colour and then the other, and so kind of to make it a little bit more friendly as well. So yeah, and then here, Bonnie noted this out, and it was basically using like the subtle setback of a garden space to kind of separate the house and the road. So we found that quite successful, and that's kind of why we included the driveway, because then it kind of gives space, I think. Yeah, so something like that. This is the census data that I did with this group, including Tom and Bonnie. So I kind of created a poll and kind of asked which kind of styles people prefer. And so I found that with housing styles, people preferred number 3. And I think the main point because of that would be because it fits into the Camborne's High Street existing buildings. So although some of these are really nice, it would be like more cohesive, and it kind of relates to the NPPF statement of 131, which is like the creation of these new buildings should all be cohesive and they should all create a harmonious image. Yeah. And then with apartments, it kind of had a different kind of style, and I think it was mostly because of the generous balcony that we liked over Juliet balconies, and we also quite liked the roof feature, and that's why we changed it into roof gardens. So yeah, that was the proposal built on this kind of census data. This slide was added after our talk with Mark Taylor, the access officer, and so we kind of made our focus on the lifetime homes, which is like the 16 criteria used to build residential buildings. And so I included the main 2 ones, which I think were really important, which was bathrooms and windows and handle heights. So for example, to make a bathroom more accessible, I think we should include handles and maybe like strings or buttons that are more inclusive and accessible and easier to reach. And also, so there would be open showers, so like just open floor space, with maybe the floors kind of slanted towards the drain, so it makes the drainage system easy and also easy for someone to access, so without having to get in and out of the tub. And so for the windows and hand heights, I find that a lot of buildings, or maybe older ones, have those pushing windows that kind of make it a lot more complicated. Let's say someone was in a wheelchair, it would be a lot better if there were just handles to make everything a lot more accessible. And finally, we also had the mention of BREEAM, which was the it was the assessment that kind of, I think the most key point when I read through their website was the net zero policy. And so they wanted to build non-residential buildings that kind of maximize the net zero policy and helping it to reduce climate change. And so for our distinctive characteristics for the Camborne High Street, our main point was table tennis tables, or like maybe like an outdoor gym, something that people can stay active and be really interactive with each other. Water features and also public artwork. We thought that were really important to make them distinctive.
So next we move on to connectivity. So my next few slides I've sort of separated into between the different types of transport in and around Camborne. So firstly, buses. Currently the only destination is Cambridge. As you can see, this sort of route taken around 30 minutes to get from one end to the other. Every 20 minutes or so there's a bus. However, a proposal of a guided busway from Camborne to Cambridge would create a more direct route, sort of linking up the two regions. And also I would suggest they should expand their destinations to, for example, other near towns such as St Neots or Royston. Then I moved on to trains, so I'm sure you're aware of, currently there's no train station, but with East to West Rail planning going through at the minute, there'll be a station just north of the A428 up here, which will be on the Cambridge to Oxford line. However, the only problem with that is at the minute the town centre, that's quite a walk for some people, so maybe they should sort of introduce a little tram or a bus, shuttle bus kind of thing. Cycling wise, in some areas of cycling, when we did a little site visit to the high street, as we were walking there was some really good cycle paths, but when we actually got to the high street area itself, there wasn't really anything in particular. There was no cycle parking, and also as South Cambridgeshire local plan says in chapter 5C1, there should be sort of secure and safe cycle parking in sort of most regions of a town. So yeah, we try to put more of that into our plan. Cars and deliveries wise, the sort of roads surrounding Camborne are quite good. Obviously you've got the A428 and A14 taking you into Cambridge. They've both been recently upgraded in the last 5 years, as well as the 1198, which takes you down to Royston, the next nearest town. However, delivery wise, within this actual site that the Harris Partnership proposed, as you can see, there's not really anywhere for the delivery vans to go to, so they just sort of have to park up on the road, blocking access and just sort of getting in the way generally. So we try to sort of provide more space for that in our plan as well. Sort of the lifestyle, everyday sort of basics within the site as well, such as bin tracking distance. As you can see on the Harris Partnership proposal, somebody living here, they're going to have an awfully long walk to get their bin out to the main road. So we've tried to sort of create more pathways between the terraced housing, shortening that distance and making it more easy. So as Kaylee said, we had our talk with Mark Taylor. He pointed out some really good aspects that could help disabled people. So firstly, the buses. He said sometimes if there's somebody already on the bus who is using a wheelchair, for example, he has to wait till the next one because they only have one space. So increasing that to 2 or 3 spaces would just make it more easy, allow them to go together if there's 2 wheelchair users going together at the same place. Trains, he says sometimes he's worried that if there isn't a train guard to meet him at the station, the train's just going to leave with him on it still. So I thought maybe the ramps could be stored on the train so that then fellow passenger could just put it down, let the wheelchair user off, take it back, and then you're not relying on train guards. With the new station north of Camborne, as I said earlier, it's not accessible from the town, so for people that cannot walk so far as that, having a sort of shuttle between the 2 areas would help. And finally, the pavements should be smooth and even to ensure that wheelchair users or blind people, for example, can safely use them without tripping.